What may have started as just a flutter in one man's eyes has become a full-blown scandal, yet another one engulfing the Prime Minister and his party less than a fortnight before polling day. Allegations that some of those closest to number 10 placed bets on the timing of the election had left Rishi Sunak, as he put it, incredibly angry. He said that again and again today. But pushed to suspend the prospective MPs, now under official investigation by the Gambling Commission, there was no committal, and he refused to be drawn on whether he knows of any other candidates or officials caught up in the scandal. Labour accused Mr Sunak of a total lack of leadership. He certainly has a total lack of campaign director after Tony Lee took leave of absence yesterday. It is all terrible timing, with Gamblegate, as it's now being called, overshadowing the PM's other campaigning.
Right Honourable Rishi Sunak.
The Prime Minister was trying to launch his manifesto for Wales today in the unlikely setting of a plumbing warehouse.
Thank you, Reverend David, thank you.
Which, given the way his campaign is going, might not have been wise. And he was asked straight off about the gambling scandal.
I was incredibly angry when I learned about these allegations. In the same anger that many of you will feel and everyone watching. And it's right that they are investigated thoroughly. These are serious allegations.
So far, there are 4 people in the Prime Minister's circle under investigation for allegedly placing bets on the date of the election. His Parliamentary Private Secretary, Craig Williams, a close aide, has admitted he did. His campaign's director, Tony Lee, is being looked into, as is his wife, Laura Saunders, a candidate in Bristol. And one of the Prime Minister's close protection officers has been arrested and suspended by the Met.
This should have been an important event for the Prime Minister, but there was very little focus on this. Instead, question after question on the betting scandal engulfing his party.
And the one he repeatedly dodged, whether there might be other names yet to come out.
I hope you can appreciate there's not much more I can add. There is a limit to what can happen during those investigations to protect the integrity of them. There's not much more I can add to what I said previously.
For a man who came to power promising this.
This government will have integrity, professionalism and accountability at every level.
He's under pressure to justify why he hasn't suspended those allegedly involved.
The Prime Minister is showing a total lack of leadership on this. Let's look at what actually happened. In relation to a general election, the instinct of these Tories, when the general election is called, is not how do we make this work for the country, but how do I make some money?
The Prime Minister visited a farm shop before he left Wales, but it was the betting story, not his manifesto, that had caught people's attention.
It's not just about the gambling, it's about everything else that goes back to PPE procurement, it goes through to partying during lockdown. There's been so much of it.
Have you heard about the gambling allegations recently?
Yes.
Has that had any impact on what you think of them?
Corrupt. I think it just proves again that they're very corrupt, personally. That's my opinion.
I think it's just more fuel to the fire, really, isn't it? You know, I think it's... but no, I wasn't surprised at all.
Rishi Sunak left Wales smiling this evening, but he hasn't managed to draw a line under this. He's left in his wake many more questions. Romilly Weeks, News at 10, North Wales.
And Robert is here to talk about another difficult end to another week for Rishi Sunak, and more bad news for his party about donations tonight in terms of the scale of what's going to Labour compared to the Conservatives, and also them being behind the Lib Dems and reform.
Yeah, I mean, just on that issue of this extraordinary saga over these 2 candidates who made these questionable bets on the election date. I was talking to Tory officials today and just said, why hasn't he suspended them? I mean, obviously, he can't get them off the ballot paper, but they would no longer be official Tory candidates. And at that point, the questions that are being piled on Sunak might come to an end, and he might be able to continue to pursue the kind of arguments he wants in this election. And this is the thing which really amazed me, shocked me really, is they all said, yes, that's what he ought to do, and they don't know why he won't take that action, which, you know, also just looks so odd. You know, we talked about this on the podcast today, given that he literally began his term in office as Prime Minister on the streets of Downing saying he would always take decisive action in these situations. So, yes, a very difficult end to the week for him. And then, just as a symbol of how far behind they are, Labour showing, or rather the data that's published shows that, that Labour in the latest week of campaigning raised £4.4 million, including a massive donation from Lord Sainsbury of £2.5 million. The Tories raised, well, I mean, £300,000. So the Labour raising, 15 times more. And I think that is just a symbol of the fact that donors, and big donors have said this to me, they say to me, why would we give money to a Tory party that isn't going to be in office? Not everything has gone quite Starmer's way today. I was quite struck that in the Times, I don't know if you've seen this tonight, that J.K. Rowling has actually written a very critical article about the Labour leader, saying she doesn't trust his judgment or character because she says Labour is dismissive and often offensive towards women born biologically as women fighting to retain their rights. So she is saying, as a feminist, she will struggle to support Labour. And there are, quite a lot of women in particular who will have sympathy with her position.